All right, guys. Good morning, or good afternoon. I keep saying good morning for these earnings streams, but that's all right. Yeah, so we are here. We got Amazon and Apple earnings today. Yeah, big day, quarter four. Apple earnings. Yeah, we'll see if we get anything good. We're gonna cover the full release as well as the earnings for everything that drops this morning or this afternoon. Yeah, so be ready. Let's take a look here. Look at Apple. Apple's pushing up too this morning, or this afternoon. So Apple's up a little bit today. Or no, Apple's down. I'm sorry. I'm getting things backwards. Apple's down a little bit this afternoon. I'm curious what kind of turnout we're gonna get today. It is Halloween. Amazon earnings. Yeah. Super micro, bro, looking rough. Look at Amazon. Amazon's up there too. Here we got Amazon and yeah, I'm drinking this. What you thought on Bitcoin? Meta's starting to rebound back up after dropping this morning. Honestly, I'm looking at my indicators, bro. I want to show you guys something. So check this indicator out, okay? Like, here's an example of Meta. Here's a 1 minute indicator. Now, this is an indicator that I built, like a custom code trading indicator. Now, check it out. So this indicator specifically, like, look at it during market hours. This one's a little too early, but this one definitely worked. Look at the bounce we got. All right, so that's 1 for 1. Okay, again, during market hours specifically. Like, I'm still testing it, but follow through, bounce, dip. Like a 15-minute indicator. So that's 4 for 4, I would argue. Again, during market hours. This one we can say probably, I don't know. This one could have worked. It depends, but we'll call it. So that's 4 out of 5, 6 out of 5. Right? So if you guys can't see this last one here. That one worked. That one worked. That one worked. Just during market hours. Look at that. That one worked. So I'm still testing it. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so... All right, so Apple is expecting, we'll put these numbers up on screen here, chat. So Apple today, again, expecting 149 a share. EPS on revenue of 94.48 billion. It's quarter four. Today, 10/31. Yeah, so again, we'll put this up on screen so you can see it. Apple is expecting 149 per share EPS. We will stream full release of Apple and Amazon live after the closing bell. Subscribe. Yeah, Amazon is expecting 114 EPS on 147 billion. So Apple is set to release its highly anticipated Q4 earnings today. Stakes couldn't be higher. Analysts projecting 149 on revenue of 94.48 billion, and investors are eagerly waiting to see if the tech giant can meet or exceed expectations. Apple's quarterly earnings are always a major event in the financial world, but this report carries particular significance as it comes amid an ever-evolving macroeconomic landscape, technology advancements, and shifts in consumer behavior. So the last quarter has been eventful for Apple. Numerous strategic moves aimed at solidifying its dominance in tech. When did the iPhone 15 come out? All right, so in September of this year, Apple introduced the iPhone 16 series, which has been available for over a month now. The iPhone 16 has garnered lots of attention. Key markets overseas in China, where sales have been increased by 20% compared to the iPhone 15 during the same post-launch period, according to MarketWatch. This surge is attributed to enhancements in performance and battery life, resonating well with consumers. Additionally, Apple's advancements in AI, particularly in the integration of Apple Intelligence featured in the iOS 18, has been pivotal. AI-driven functionality such as personalized Siri interaction and AI-generated Genmoji have been instrumental in driving user engagement and satisfaction. As Apple prepares to release its Q4 earnings, analysts are projecting, again, 149 on revenue of right around just under 95 billion. It's going to provide insight into the company's performance over the past quarter, including the impact of the iPhone 16 launch and the adoption of new AI features. People are going to be watching for iPhone 16 sales performance, given the reported sales growth in China. Insight into global sales figures and markets are going to be crucial. They're going to look at adoption of AI features with Apple as well, understanding how users are engaging with the new AI-driven functionalities and their impact on the services segment. Yeah. We also have Amazon, which is big too. Try your indicator on Bitcoin. Yeah, I can give you guys, in Bitcoin it actually works very well, right? Like, look, just to show you guys, I can't say if it works or doesn't work, right? I'm just kind of sharing with you some of my brainstorming. Like, I've got a couple indicators that I'm building here, like a couple. Here's Bitcoin on a 1 minute chart. Bounce, dip. This one was wrong. This one was right. This one was right. Probably because Bitcoin ranges a lot more. In that regard, it's probably a lot more predictable in terms of ranges. Dip, bounce, dip. We'll have to look at like a 5 minute chart, I think, is what we'll have to show up. You know, I also have some indicators that I've built here. Yeah, like I've got a couple. Like this one I call the 1 minute monster. And I use it on a 1 minute chart, but I haven't really tested it a lot on like stocks. It's really short-term indicator, and you can kind of see bounce, bounce, follow through, dip, dip. I usually use it in futures. Look at that dip. And then I have the 5 minute one's even better. Like bounce, bounce. Those are nice. Bounce. Okay. Let's see. We can look at it NASDAQ and see what index funds are looking like here. Got to be careful. The futures market's a little volatile, but it does pick up trends fairly well. Like, look, dip. It gives you very short term. The 1 minute monster is super short term. We also have the 5 minute one. Look at that green. That's nice. Y'all can't see a lot of this that I'm looking at, but... And then like, this one is probably my favorite one, although this one is meant for 5 minutes. And you can kind of see why, like 5 minutes. Look at that breakdown. Follow through bounce. Calls the top right before this dip. This one was wrong. Nice top. Nice bottom. Called the top there. That one worked. That one worked. That one, probably about break even. That one worked. So you can kind of see why. Like the 5 minute monster one's probably the one. Like, look at this. Like, look at that follow a dip. Are we lagging at all? I'm gonna switch it from a wired. I was trying to use a wired connection. I was trying to use a wired connection. But we're here. Yeah, I know we're back. I know it's dropping a little bit of frames. I had to plug the wired connection back in. I know it froze for a second. I just plugged in my Ethernet cord. Something's wrong with my internet. I should have reset it before the stream, but that's okay. But yeah, we're here. We're back working. I'm trying to get my wired connection set up. We're here. I know we're back now. And now the wired connection is working here, so we're gonna disconnect. Yeah, we should be good. So we just put the wired connection back on, so we should be good. But yeah, this is why I like the 5 minute one, because the 5 minute one's powerful. Like, this thing breaks down really well. All right, we're back. We're gonna do a poll like we always do. Are you bullish or bearish on today's Q4 Apple earnings? What makes multiple stocks have the same day today, like Palantir, Meta, Nvidia are going down slowly and same rebound? Well, because that's the nature of the market. So Jay, so that's how the market moves, bro. The market follows each other. It moves in similar ways. And so the word for it in markets is called sympathy movement. Okay, and the basic logic of it is that in tech, right? Tech is very similar in sector. Like, the sector of tech is very similar. And so stocks that are in that same sector are going to move with each other most of the time, right? So if Apple's moving up and Nvidia's moving up, the rest of the Microsoft, Google, they're going to follow it up in sympathy most of the time, especially if there's like a big catalyst looming. The big catalyst recently, if you really want to know what's dragging markets today, Supermicro semiconductors. So Supermicro semiconductors had this big old dump at 3160s this morning, right at the opening bell. This is on the heels of the super weak action that this one's had. This one had an independent auditor walk away, which is a terrible sign, right? And that dumped this stock 45%. It's continued to fall over the last few days, and this is in the microchip sector, which influences tech. It influences everything. So Supermicro semiconductors is what is dragging markets, to be honest. It is what's crashing markets, causing all these big pullbacks and stuff like that. That's what's going on. So yeah, what's tanking the market today is Supermicro semiconductors. Amazon also expecting results. Amazon is expecting 114. on revenue. On revenue of 157. Yeah, so Amazon. So we'll put that up. So there's the full expectations for both. Can y'all hear the music? You should be able to. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for it. It's mostly the reactions that we're seeing in tech. I think there's at least a lot of it depending on microchips. Supermicro has had a bad run. Like, again, look at this. So here's Supermicro's. Here's a 30-minute chart, which is one of my favorite chart types because it kind of gives you the big picture. Supermicro Semiconductors it's still a relatively new name. All right, so Supermicro Semiconductors has experienced big decline in its stock. So again, Supermicro, commonly known, which is commonly known as a U.S.-based tech company. It specializes in high performance and efficiency and energy efficient solutions for servers. It's founded in '93, headquartered in San Jose. Yeah. So again, Supermicro is a U.S.-based tech company, specializes in servers. It's in San Jose, California. The products cater to various markets such as enterprise data solutions, cloud computing, AI, and 5G. Company's offerings are built on its server building block solutions. Architecture allowing for customizable and scalable configurations. It operates globally, manufacturing facilities in the U.S., Taiwan, and the Netherlands, serves customers in over 100 countries. But it experienced big drops over the past 48 hours. The resignation of its auditor, Ernst & Young, EY, cited an inability to rely on the company's management and audit committee's representations, leading to concerns about the integrity of their financial statements. So basically, independent auditor walked away stating that they can't trust their financial statements. Like, a little bit of sketchiness is going on. It follows earlier issues, which is specifically had to do with the Hindenburg short report. They included a lot of stuff about like annual report filings and allegations of accounting manipulation. And so Supermicro is down 50%. A big tech company that a lot of the stock market watches is down 50%, essentially. And that's a big drop. And that's dragging all of tech down with it, essentially. Hold on, let me get my 5-minute monster up and get a better look at it. Yeah, so here's the 5-minute monster. I didn't even realize that the 1-minute monster was clouding the judgment. Look at how accurate this thing can be. Look at that. Can y'all see this? Like, look at that. Bounce, dip, dip, bounce, bounce. These two are a little sketchy, but they're pretty early. I think if you look at ones that happen after the bell, they can be really powerful. Look, it does really good at predicting these tops. Look at these bounces. Bounce, bounce, dip, dip, bounce. Look at that bottom. So it's pretty nice. We're working on it though. But yeah, here's Apple. Apple dipped a lot and it's kind of stabilized and started to go flat over the last couple hours. All right, guys, we got 25 minutes. I'm going to put a timer up on screen. Alright, so this is the closing bell timer. Pump, I feel. Do you guys think Apple's going to go up or down? Apple down, Amazon up. I need a pump. Hey, we'll see. All right, so Apple starting to fall back down to 226 this here, chat. 226. Let's see if I can make this smaller. I can also put myself up there. Again, guys, we got Q4 earnings for Apple. Yeah, I'm going to put Amazon up. We're going to cover both, really. So stick around. We're going to cover both. But Amazon down to 186s. So it's looking weak, looking rough. I like Palantir as a company, but Palantir's gone up so much that I'm a little worried that it can't hold some of its gains. But I do like it as a company. It did dip a little bit, though, so it's down some. Yeah, here's Amazon. Amazon's basically looking a lot like Apple. So here's Apple on the left, and here's Amazon on the right. So they look very similar. All right, so Apple is again set to announce its Q4 earnings. Expecting 149 EPS on 94.48 billion in revenue. Let's take a look. Here's Apple's EPS graph, and obviously it's Apple, so it's had a really strong long-term trend here, but it's expecting 149 today, which is just under this level here. So it is expecting this. I think it's going to beat a little bit, and so that's the next step in the trend. Not my best work here for the candle, but that's basically what's expecting today. I think that's basically what it's going to show up as. 94.48 billion in revenue. We can take a look at Amazon's, but it's still a good trend. Not the highest, EPS it's ever going to do, though, if it shows up as expected. Now, Amazon's been a little bit more, they've been investing a lot more money and spending a lot more money, and so their margins haven't been the best long-term trend. But today they are expecting 114 EPS, so they are expecting this number to bump up to about here or so. So again, we'll see what happens with Amazon, but that's where they're expecting. If we come in as expected, that's where Amazon's next little candle in the graph will be. And again, we'll see, chat. We'll see. There's Amazon. Let's take a look at their revenue. So Apple revenue. For revenue, they're expecting almost 95 billion. And if we take a look at this here, this is Apple's revenue graph. So again, they're expecting a jump up to 95. It's not going to be their largest revenue quarter ever, but when we look at like year-over-year consistency, it's not really reasonable to expect it. So, we're going to be looking at their September quarter. The last September quarter, they showed 89.49 billion. You know what I mean? So, this is going to be a jump up from the last one if we come in as expected. But again, they're expecting 95 roughly here. So they're expecting this number. Let's see if we can find a... Yeah, they're expecting right around this number here. So... they're expecting this here. And again, we'll see if we get it or not. Point is, it looks like a pretty good number. Apple's still sitting at 226 a share. What's Apple's PE ratio? Let's take a look. Let's dive deeper. All right, so Apple PE ratio. The sites that I'm looking at are saying Apple's got a PE ratio of 35. I always like to calculate it myself because there can be like all these different gap influences and stuff. But again, today they are expecting. I'm showing some people expecting 160. I don't know if that's right. What do you guys show that they're expecting? I'm showing some places say they're expecting 160 today, which seems a little bit different than what I had at 149. All right, so the forecast range from 148 to 161, so mine's not necessarily wrong. Consensus stands at about 149. Others have it at 160, like, yeah. You know, although some have expressed caution, like KeyBank from Capital Markets have expressed caution, citing potential challenges in iPhone upgrade rates and setting a lower price target for Apple stock. Varying estimates underscore the diverse outlook of, yeah. So, we'll see. Again, chat, let me know what you guys see for this. Who's trying to scam? What's your favorite stock market platform? TradingView. All right, so we got the Fed rate decision. We got over 200 people here. We still got 15 minutes until the closing bell. Yeah, I'm going to calculate PE ratio. Let's do it. I'm going to calculate PE. Do we have semiconductor earnings? We got Intel. Intel earnings today. Expecting a 2-cent loss on $13 billion in revenue. Yeah, so let's calculate some of these. I'm showing 140 plus 153 plus 218 plus 146, 657, 227 divided by 657. PE ratio of about 35. So we can round up and call Apple's PE ratio 35. Not horrible, not amazing, not horrible either. Let's take a look at Amazon. I think Amazon, I'm pretty sure, has a worse PE ratio, right? But let's check. So Amazon currently, or last quarter, 126, 98 cents before that. $1 before that. 94 cents before that. So Amazon's yearly is 418 divided by 186, or 186 divided by 418. PE ratio of about 44.5, 44. So Amazon has a much worse PE, price to earnings ratio, than Apple does. Neither of them are terrible. They're both under 50, but I wouldn't say either of them are good either. I'd love to be wrong, but I bet that Amazon will have similar results to Meta. Yesterday beats, but price still drops. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what most tech has been doing, James. This earnings release, this earnings season, most tech has been up, or having better than expected EPS revenue, and a lot of them have better than expected guidance, but they're still falling down some. It doesn't mean Apple's going to behave the same way, though, or Amazon's going to behave the same way. It's just what we're normally seeing this earnings season for whatever reason. Has Apple really had any good growth lately? It's just mainly share buybacks forcing the price up. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, their growth has stagnated for sure since about 2022. But it's Apple. It's not going to be able to always grow like amazingly. It goes through stages. Everything goes through stages, of course. You can kind of see that stagnating a little bit. If we look at Amazon's EPS, we get a little bit of growth recently too, though. You know, Amazon invested a lot of money in their business, and they're starting to see dividends from that. Let's see their EPS. Yeah, and I'm sure Amazon has pretty good revenue growth. I mean, I don't know. Apple's EPS has been doing a little bit better. So, like, here's their EPS growth, if you can see this on the very bottom. So it's starting to get a little bit of growth here. Not great. Quarterly about, last quarter they grew by 11%. So they're getting a little bit of growth, but not like amazing. I want to see what Amazon's revenue is too. Hold on, let's check. I want to see what their Amazon's revenue growth is, to be honest. Yeah, so Amazon's still having really strong revenue growth. I would say, looking at it objectively, Amazon has the stronger growth versus Apple. Both take today too high a PE. Yeah, well, they both have. I mean, Apple's PE is better margin wise. Apple's a little bit better, but it's still not. It's 35. It's better than a lot of the Mag 7 stocks, though. Like a lot of the Magnificent 7 stocks have like 50, 60, 70 PE ratio. If we look at all of them, like they have kind of high PE ratio. Look at Apple start to bump up a little bit too. And so Apple's doing better than some of them. Is it doing great? Not really, but it's still not doing like horrible. Like it could be worse, I guess. They just made capital gains tax 24% yesterday. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, we got 10 minutes left. All right, chat. So, all right. So Apple at 227s, Amazon at 186s. Amazon is a no-brainer. Buy before earnings and celebrate later. Yeah, I think buying anything ahead of earnings is a risky endeavor. I think nobody freaking knows what's going to happen in earnings, especially not me. And so we could try to make some big gamble on earnings and take some huge position ahead of earnings. You know how many people I've heard. Look, I'll put it this way. You know how many people I've heard being like, "Yeah, buy up ABC stock ahead of earnings. It's gonna rocket. You'll see." And then the earnings happens and it dumps 15%, and then it's just kind of crickets. Or it's either crickets or it's, I can't believe I did that. What was I thinking? Like they have an existential crisis. And maybe Amazon goes up. I think Amazon generally is a very strong company long term. I think Amazon, good margins, good business, obviously. Everybody in the U.S. uses Amazon for the most part. Almost everybody here uses Amazon. They've grown. They've taken the Rockefeller strategy in which they cut out the middleman in terms of shippers and mail order delivery things, and they've made it very, very efficient and dominated the business world because of it. And so I like Amazon as a company. I think Amazon's going to be fine long term. But as we've seen in a lot of the other Magnificent Seven stocks that released earnings this week, it can have great EPS, it can have great margins, great revenue, great guidance, and drop 5% from earnings, right? So nobody freaking knows, regardless. Even if you knew what Amazon's numbers were going to be, it's still difficult to predict the actual price action that we get from it. And so in turn, the people who are taking huge positions ahead of earnings, based off of the earnings, are just gambling, you know? And that's, I think, very obvious. We're going to cover everything. We're going to cover Intel, Team, Lending Tree, Eldorado, ICF, US Steel, Amazon, Apple, of course. All the big boys. We're going to stream it. I have a big baggie in there. Hey, good luck, dude. Hopefully you make some money. Apple falling down a little bit leading up to the earnings report. You can see the timer on right here. So right underneath me right here, we have a timer. We got 5 minutes left. Whew, let's see what happens. What's the possible move for Apple? Trying to see what the implied P ratio of 35. Anybody know what the implied move for Apple is? Apple's last earnings implied volatility going into earnings was 29.7. The last time Apple released earnings, the implied volatility dropped to 28. 30.6, I think is what, right around 30. Apple options are implying a 3.5% move in sharp price post earnings, so we'll see what happens there. I'm showing. So implied move, the weekly implied move is 3.7%. Apple to 213, Amazon to 175. This market can't crash is what everyone thinks. And when it comes, everyone is in denial mode. Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, man, crashes are... You're acting like people just ignore crashes and never think they're going to happen. It's actually the opposite. Crashes are wildly overpredicted. Everybody and their grandmother wants to be the next big short crash predictor, the next big short, you know, investor betting against the market when everybody thought they were wrong. Everybody has delusions of grandeur in that regard. You know how many people have predicted crashes in the last 5 years that have just been wildly wrong over and over and over again? Especially during election years, it's statistically pretty improbable. I'm not saying it's impossible. It could certainly happen. But during an election year, especially, like, it's pretty unlikely that we're going to crash. You know, generally it's the other side where on election years, markets tend to do better, not worse. So, you know, maybe we crash. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not going to happen or it's never going to happen. If you throw darts, eventually you're going to hit it. You know, eventually we're going to crash. But is it probable is what I'm asking. And I don't necessarily think so. But I think anything could happen. You never know. It might pop up like Google sell-off. Yeah, I mean, Google had good EPS, good revenue. Ended up correcting still, but it wasn't horrible. All right, Chad, we got less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes until the closing bell. we got a minute and a half until close. The timer's pretty close. A minute and a half. Got about 500 people watching. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Y'all do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We put it in sub-only mode. All right, guys. Here's the closing bell. So we got this dip. We're at 225.90s. Get your parachute ready because we're going down fast. I mean, that's what everybody always thinks. Every single earnings call, big economic event. All right, 15 seconds, chat. 15 seconds. All right, so again, Amazon's scheduled to release right at the closing bell. We'll see what this looks like. But let's prepare ourselves, chat. Let's prepare ourselves. All right, so there's the closing bell. There's the closing bell. Waiting. Nothing yet. Yeah, so there's the close. All right, guys, nothing's really moved. Amazon's moving up a little bit, but nothing too crazy here. All right, guys. Consolidation mostly happening right now. Still waiting. Time will tell. All right, look at Amazon. So Amazon did pop up. So Amazon's earnings are out. Look at this run for Amazon. Amazon numbers are out. Let's see if we can find them. Wow, look at this run. Amazon posted 143 versus 116. Net sales 159 billion versus 157.2 billion expected. So EPS beat and revenue beat for Amazon. So here's Amazon's numbers right here, but they beat EPS and beat revenue. Intel also posted a huge loss per share of 46 cents versus 2-cent loss per share. Revenue of 13.3. They expected 13. So Intel missed. Intel missed EPS by a huge margin, but beat revenue. I'll put those numbers up in chat. We got Amazon's numbers up, and Amazon ripped up, and then it's kind of quiet right now. We're still waiting here. But yeah, here's Amazon's numbers. Yeah, and Intel had a huge EPS miss. Amazon's ripping up to 194s also here, chat. So now we are waiting for the big boy Apple to release. Look at Amazon go. And so again, Amazon better than expected at 194s, 195s. Apple at 225.70s. Starting to get a little bit of price action here. Amazon's still ripping up big here, chat. Rip it up big at 195. Y'all do me a favor, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. We're still waiting for Apple earnings. Apple earnings are technically scheduled to release at 4:30 is when they're technically 4:30 is when Apple's numbers are they could release anytime after the closing bell, which is why I start the stream and why I time it from that. But Amazon up to 198. Apple down to 224s though. Again, Amazon 143 EPS versus 114 expected revenue, beat expectations as well. Slight beats, except a slight beat for revenue, but a big beat on EPS. And Amazon's looking strong. Almost up to 199. Let's see if it can break 200. What's the lifetime high for Amazon? 201. 201.20 is the lifetime high. So Amazon's getting very close to the all-time high. All right, so the all-time high is right here for Amazon. The all-time high is right here. Let's draw it. That's the all-time high for Amazon, right around there. A little bit under that, but that's okay. Let's try. Yeah. All right, that's the all-time high for Amazon, that light blue line. Still waiting on Apple here. Yeah, Amazon earnings might be in big letters at the bottom of the screen. All right, Amazon, very strong. 3 very large green candles showing up. We're looking at the other earnings that drop. Intel's already out. Again, Intel BDP or missed EPS by a huge margin. Beat revenue slightly. And it's up to $24 a share. Intel having a big bounce back on pretty bad EPS margins. But hey. Yeah, so we'll talk about some of the stuff going on for Amazon now. So again, Amazon Q3 sales beat expectations. Q4 net sales came in at 188.5. I'll put these numbers up in chat. Yeah, Intel's down a lot over the last 6 months for sure. All right, so we got a lot of numbers for Amazon. Operating margin was at 11%. Net sales came in at $15.3 billion. We're gonna put those up in chat. North American segment sales at $95.5 billion for Amazon. The call's at 5 for both of them. Apple's down some, the 223s. Services sales, we're putting all these numbers for. We already got North American. Services sales came in at 91.28. Product sales came in at 67.6. All right, so net sales increased 11% for Amazon to 158.89 or 0.9 billion in the third quarter compared to 143 in the third quarter of last year, excluding the 20 billion or excluding the 0.2 billion unfavorable impact for year-over-year changes in foreign exchange rates. So at the quarter, net sales increased 11%. It says, as we get into the holiday season, we're excited about what we have done in store. What we have in store for customers, said Andy Jassy, Amazon president and CEO. They said, quote, we kicked off the holiday season with our biggest ever Prime Big Deal Days and the launch of all new Kindle lineup that is significantly outperforming our expectations. And there's so much more coming, from tens of millions of deals to our NFL Black Friday game and Election Day coverage with Brian Williams on Prime Video to our over 100 new cloud infrastructure and AI capabilities that we'll share at Amazon Web Services. Reinvent the week after Thanksgiving. And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they're dropping here, but most of it we just put in chat for Amazon. And Amazon's up big. Intel's up big from earnings. We're still waiting on Apple to release here. Still waiting on Apple's release. We got a couple other ones that are dropping in a couple minutes. So Lending Tree drops in about 3 minutes. US Steel drops at 4:15. Apple's reporting sometime after the close. Intel broke highs again up to 2430s. Waiting for Apple. It's supposed to release sometime after the closing bell today, so we're waiting on this to report. So we'll put a timer up. Some are saying 4:30 for Apple. So exactly 22 minutes. That's correct. Yep. But it could release any time. So it could release any time. All right, so Amazon, very good. Went up a lot. Now we're pulling back. Team is already out. We had Atlassian Corp as well. We'll put that up. So yeah, here it is. So it showed up 77-cent profit versus 64 expected revenue of 1.19. They expected 1.15, so a little bit better than expected. We're still waiting on Apple here, chat. All right, we're waiting, guys. Apple, again, technically scheduled for 4:30. We'll see what happens, though. Give me your last-minute predictions. Beat or miss, chat. Beat or miss. Been a fun earnings season. The crazy one, of course, is going to be Intel. Intel, again, as always, is going to be the crazy one. Look at Amazon fall down a little bit. It's at 194.30s. Again, beat or miss. I see people guess right now. We got Robert saying beat, Apple saying miss. Miss. Big miss. This guy says beat. Jose says, please let it beat. Complete miss for Apple, this guy says. Andy says miss. Intel posted a 49-cent loss versus 3-cent loss expected. 2-cent loss expected. Revenue of 13.3 beat expectations by versus 13 expected. So a little bit better revenue, but big EPS miss. So Hunter says beat. Caleb says beat. Jai says beat. Biggest earnings of the quarter next week. What? Apple beat. Yeah, we'll see. I'm waiting for it here, chat. I'm waiting. Apple super flat right now. We're waiting for the numbers. It's technically scheduled to release in about 20 minutes. Beat with low guidance. We'll see. All right, we're sitting here waiting, chat. I think it's 4:30. We got a timer up, but yeah, I don't know anything about Team as a company. I can't even pronounce the actual full name of it, but it's up a lot percentage-wise. Kind of crazy from 190s to 220s, almost 225s. Intel's up big. Amazon obviously up some. Still waiting on Apple, which is still boring and nothing yet. Are we gonna get another buyback today? I don't know. Thoughts on Eli Lilly earnings yesterday? Why is Amazon dipping? Amazon's green. It's down a little bit, but it's never going to go straight up. I wish it did, but it's not going to. Will Dow go up tomorrow? I don't know. You can look at the Dow right now, which is /YM in futures if you want to look to see what the Dow's doing. Depends on what Apple does, but so far the Dow's down a little bit, actually. Here's the Dow right here if you want to see it. Since the close. All right, so it's down a little bit, but not too much, but down a little bit. All right, chat. Yeah, all good, pawn. Do you think Do you know why Microsoft dropped yesterday? No, man. I think Microsoft's just up big already on the year. You know, Microsoft started the year off at 370s. It's now at 4. Got as high as almost 460s, almost 5. So a lot of Mag 7 stocks had a great year, huge year. They're up big. So yeah. All right, so there's Apple up a little bit. Amazon's bouncing back too, so I'm wondering if Apple's just following it up in sympathy. So there's 415. We should have some that's scheduled to release at 415. I believe Lending Tree, or no, U.S. Steel, Juniper, and some other ones. Supposed to drop right now. We'll see what they show up as. All right, so waiting. I need to get a drum roll sound bar. I have one somewhere. Apple's starting to break highs, though. Apple just broke highs at pre-market. It's up to 226.70s. I don't think the earnings are out yet, but it did just break highs at pre-market. It's at 226.70s now, so it's doing all right. Like, it's trying to get up there. 226.70s. Amazon at 195s now. Big moves. Amazon's back up. Again, Amazon beat EPS, beat revenue. It wasn't by like a crazy margin or anything like that, but it did beat EPS, beat rev. So yeah, Amazon posted 143 versus 114. Actually, the margins were pretty good. Revenue was only a slight beat, but the EPS was a pretty big beat. It was 143 versus 114. So percentage-wise, it's not small. It's not small. We got 13 minutes left until this number drops. 13 minutes left. Yeah, so Amazon net sales rose. Q4 outlook was set. Amazon Web Services segment sales increased 19%. International segment sales increased 12%. North American segment sales increased 9%. You can see a lot of that here as well. Q3 sales beat net sales $188.5 billion. Guided for at 188.5 versus 186.3. So here's Amazon guidance numbers. Amazon's up on good guidance mostly. Good guidance, good EPS, good revenue. Intel broke highs again. A lot of people are asking about Intel's guidance. Intel guides for 12-cent fourth quarter EPS on revenue of 14.3 versus 13.7 expected, so better than expected. Here's Intel's guidance as well, which is mostly positive. Intel says on October 28th approved a series of cost and capital reduction initiatives. Says they expect to recognize $3 billion of restructuring charges related to restructuring actions. Again, we're putting all this stuff up on chat. Hit the subscribe button. We give you all this stuff live as soon as it happens if you want somewhere to watch earnings every day. This is it. Intel firing 17K more. Yeah, I mean, it's good for margins. Oh, I'm showing a different beat for Intel. So I showed a huge miss when I saw it. I showed like a 43-cent loss per share, but it must not have been GAAP. The adjusted EPS for Intel showed this here, which is better than expected. 12-cent profit. They showed a surprise profit and a guidance update. So maybe that's good, or that's obviously good. All right, still waiting on Apple, guys. Technically scheduled release in 11 minutes. So we'll cover it. So yeah, Intel looks big changes for restructuring, or Intel books big charges for restructuring, but the stock's still surging on better guidance, a better beat of adjusted EPS and sales beat as well. Intel broke highs again just now at 2480. Still waiting on Apple's results, chat. They should drop in about 10 minutes. You know what? I'm going to fix this a little bit. This is a little bit early. I'm going to make this exactly right. So this is when exactly the timing is supposed to come out. Okay, so this is exactly right. So this is exactly when Apple was set and scheduled to release, and at 4:30 exactly. So we still got a little bit of time, but waiting here, chat, waiting. Less than 10 minutes. I mean, wouldn't we see Apple's numbers out, though? Yeah, Apple's not out yet. Not that I see. U.S. Steel was out. See somebody saying Apple's out with their numbers. Wouldn't Apple be moving more on its results, though? No? Yeah, I don't see Apple numbers out. So I don't know where you're getting the numbers from, but so yeah, I see who told you that for Apple, but I only see one person say it. And so either they're correct. I'll take a picture of it. You're talking about this Win Lambo guy, or How to Lambo. It could be bot driven, but I don't see Apple numbers are out yet. Yeah, if it was out, we'd see the movement. Yeah, I'm not sure where he's getting that number, but again, Apple is expecting, chat. He's quoting from the same weeks ago. I see the same 3-week-old news. Yeah, again, we would see movement here. Y'all are talking about this guy, but this is just old news. It's not really the real news. You're gonna see when Apple numbers drop in about 7 minutes, so you'll see when Apple moves. Yeah, the call is at 5 p.m. The earnings are supposed to release at 4:30 though, in 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. Intel pumping. Amazon doing great too. All right, guys. All right, guys, we're waiting here. Guys, we're waiting. You'll see the movement here. Apple just broke highs at pre-market again, got up to 226.80s. Chat, 226.80s. Yeah, the call's at 5 p.m. Are you bullish or bearish? Let me know in chat right now. Bullish or bearish? I tend to be bullish, but I also think that, like, yeah, I think a lot of tech stocks have beat EPS and beat revenue and drop still, and so I think it could depend on a lot of different things to be completely real here. And again, we'll have to wait and see. Time will tell. We got 5 minutes left until these numbers are scheduled to drop, and it looks like they're sticking to the schedule at 4:30. iPhone 16, yeah, that's going to be a big topic of conversation during the earnings call, is the iPhone 16 for sure. I don't shorten Apple's up so much with little growth. Please, anyone tell tomorrow Dow Jones is up? I have no idea. It depends on what Apple shows up as, and it depends on what Apple and Amazon do. Amazon's up a lot. Apple's up a little bit. Amazon had good EPS, good revenue, good guidance numbers. Intel had good EPS, good revenue, good guidance numbers. Apple's the last piece of the puzzle before we kind of get to try to judge what happens tomorrow, I think, with everything going on. And so, again, we're sitting tight waiting here. Yeah. All right, here we go. 3 minutes. Probably a little bit less. We'll see. I set this timer to be exactly right, exactly for 4:30 when they scheduled it to be released, but we're still waiting here on these numbers. You'll be able to see when the numbers actually drop because you'll see big candlestick volatility. Now, this last candle is looking a little movement-y. It doesn't mean it's out, but it's looking a little up and down. All right, so look at that big move, or not, look at the small move here. Again, guys, 2.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Give me your last minute predictions. Y'all are so cheap, it's free. What's free? Oh, hit the like button. Yeah, do it now. Try it one time, might feel good. Personally, I feel like AI adoption of users' ability to do so is surprisingly slow versus manufacturing expectations. iPhone is way too cheap not to buy. I think we'll all be surprised. First move is sometimes the wrong move. Yeah, for sure, it sometimes is. All right, guys, 2 minutes. Here we go. Amazon's testing that previous high level. Apple's testing highs of the day again, and the earnings still aren't out yet. It's at 227s. 227s. Apple's gonna miss for sure. I have no idea, man. All right, look, here's a big move for Apple. It just broke highs. Still got a minute until it's supposed to come out, but this is a big candle. I don't know if this is the earnings candle yet, but it's starting to move up at least a little bit for Apple. It's at 227.80s, 228s. US Steel is out. I'll put those numbers on screen, but still waiting for Apple to release here. Nothing yet. Intel at 2440s. Yeah, there's never an earnings leak. That's always just a rumor. Less than a minute now, chat. We got less than a minute. Watch Apple close. I'm going to put this chart big on screen so we can see Apple. Here's Apple, 227.40s. Thirty seconds. 30 seconds. Apple still nothing yet. We got 11 seconds until it's technically scheduled to be released. Be ready here, guys. Here we go. All right, here we go. I'm gonna pause this timer. This is when it's supposed to come out, guys. And it's down. Everybody's been waiting for Apple. Big drop so far here is what I'm showing. Apple out 97 cents versus 146 year over year for fourth quarter. Revenue of 94.93 versus 94.36 expected. Is this correct? I'm showing 97 cents versus $1.46 year over year. Is that right? No, 164. I'm sorry, that's wrong. 164 versus 158 expected. Revenue of 94.93. 164 BDPS beat revenue by a small margin. Yeah, so no, that was, I don't know, like I was looking at Twitter, somebody got it wrong. But no, there it is right there. So it's 164 versus 158 expected, revenue of 94.93 billion. Yeah, I didn't think that was right. That seemed like way too big of a miss. Yeah, blame Pepperstone on X for getting it wrong because he said it was 97 cents. Apple, again, 164 EPS versus 158 expected, revenue of 94.93, expected 94.58. So BDPS beat revenue is what we're showing here for Apple. Apple's up now, up to 230s, just almost tapped it for 230. Still moving up a little bit here. Still trying to make some moves for Apple. Retracing all the way back down now, though. So we're starting to get some more data for Apple right now. Apple posted iPhone sales of 46.222 billion versus 43 billion prior. So better than expected iPhone sales. We're going to put those numbers up in chat. Okay, so the GAAP EPS was 97 cents. So the GAAP EPS was 97 cents. Look, I'll put that up on screen. But the adjusted EPS was 146. GAAP, if you don't know what that means, stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. But sometimes because of like weird nuances within those, that it can just be really kind of different than the actual adjusted EPS, which is what we want to specifically look at. But yeah, 164 beat the 160 estimate here. I'll put those numbers up on screen. And iPad sales showed up at 6.9 billion versus 6.44 billion expected. It's not really down, and honestly hasn't moved that much. So I see some people saying, hey, why is it down? Why is it down? It really genuinely hasn't moved very much at all for an earnings report for Apple. It's a weird week, guys. It really is a weird week, man. And again, we're going to start reading some stuff here. You can see a lot of their metrics that we posted on chat. iPad sales just under 7 billion versus 6.44 prior. They said, quote, today Apple is reporting new September quarter record revenue of 94.9 billion, up 6% from a year ago, said Tim Cook. During the quarter, we were excited to announce our best products yet with the all-new iPhone 16 lineup, Apple Watch 10, AirPod 4, and remarkable features from hearing health and sleep apnea detection. And this week, we released our first set of features for Apple Intelligence, which sets a new standard for privacy and AI and supercharges our lineup heading into the holiday season. Our records business performance during the September quarter drove nearly 27 billion in operating cash flow, allowing us to return over 29 billion to our shareholders, said Luca Maestri, Apple CFO. They said, quote, we are pleased that our active installed base of devices reached new all-time highs across all products and geographic segments thanks to high level of customer satisfaction and loyalty. So Apple quarter 4 2024 revenue for services came in at 24.972 billion versus 22.31 billion prior. We're going to put that up in chat as well. We do have the segment sales here, where in America they were at 41.6 billion, Europe 24.92 billion, China, Greater China at 15.03 billion, Japan came in at 5.93 billion, the rest of Asia Pacific came in at 9.38 billion. And again, you can kind of see those numbers up in chat. You know, iPad sales were lower than the consensus estimate, though, so I'm going to put some of these estimates up in chat as well. You can kind of see Alpha consensus estimate of 7.17 billion, services sales at 25 billion versus 25.3 billion expected. So services and iPad sales for fourth quarter were a little bit slow versus expectations here for Apple. That might explain some of these drops in Apple. And you can see Apple's down to 222s right now. Yeah, so Apple's down some. Look at that, it's at 221s. Yeah, but this is good EPS. I mean, 160 EPS is very good for Apple. You know, especially for this quarter, it's not bad. Like year over year, it's pretty solid. But yeah, Apple down a little bit. We'll see if it bounces back. It had good EPS and good sales. Also, if you haven't already, check out TopStep. I only have one sponsor, and it's TopStep. And TopStep is a funded program in futures. I'm a TopStep partner. Great company if you want to learn to day trade. Almost all day traders lose money. And so if you try to risk your own money, you're probably going to lose it. TopStep kind of limits that risks, allows you to be a little bit more risk averse, in that they give you a demo in futures. And in the futures market, you can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, currencies, gold. Patterns are super similar to like Apple or Amazon day trading patterns. There's no PDT rule though, and so it gets around the PDT rule. They give you a demo with real-time data, which if you pay for a demo with real-time data outside of this, it's going to cost about the same, which is, you know, 40, 50 bucks a month. But if you pass their test with the demo, they fund you between 50 to 150K with a 90% split, and they've paid out over $100 million to their traders. They fund thousands of traders a year. It's a great way to learn how to day trade, because regardless of where you go, most day traders lose, and that's probably the same here. Most day traders are going to lose. It's a lot cheaper to lose here than to fund your own account with thousands of dollars trying to look cool in markets. And the best part is that there's zero commission on TopStep X, so I can take small positions, $8, $10, $15 profit positions, and still make money. And so if you want to check it out, they are an affiliate of mine. I'm biased. They pay me money. I'm biased. But genuinely, I think it's good for day traders. I wish I would have had it when I first got started. You can check out the link right there. And Apple, very slow from this earnings report. Not a big move from this earnings report. Very slow, very boring. We'll see if the earnings call speaks some life into Apple right now. But again, very boring, slow. There's not a lot going on here for Apple Q4 earnings. We are going to stream the full call. Check out their site, JO, if you want to see more information on it, brother. All right, guys. Again, is it time to buy the dip? I'm going to end this poll. We did this poll live a bunch of times already. I'm going to end this poll. We got about 1,000 votes. The next poll is going to be, are you bullish? Are you buying the Apple dip? Yes or no? Are you buying the Apple dip right here, guys? Let me know if you're buying it. When is Amazon call stream? So Amazon calls at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're not going to stream it, though. We're just going to stick with Apple. It's Halloween, you know. We got to get our setup a little bit better before we start streaming every call. All right, chat, we got 22 minutes. 22 minutes. I see some people yelling, no, I'm not buying the Amazon dip. All right, so sideways, neutral. Let's see our poll numbers. We asked people, are you buying the dip? 61% say no. 38% say yes. 61% say no. 38% say yes. Yeah, I'm ready for this election to end right now. Tomorrow we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment data, though. So tomorrow is kind of a big day, in all honesty. Here we got non-farm payrolls and unemployment. That's a big report. Generally, here, that's a big report. It should be like the biggest report we got this week, to be honest, versus everything else. And we've had a lot of reports drop this week. So yeah, we've had a lot of stuff drop this week. See what this report shows, but yeah. Non-farm payrolls is kind of turning into one of the biggest reports we get. And I'm excited for it, honestly. You know, unemployment's dropping too. So Amazon, Apple both up, or Amazon, Apple both did great for their earnings. Amazon, though, reacted very positively to this. Apple, not so much. Apple, not so much. So Apple 223 is starting to rebound, though. Maybe the dip was a good dip. Amazon up to 194s. Again, I asked people if they're going to buy this dip. 62% say no. 38% say yes. Vote on the poll now. You know, I while I don't stray into politics, guys, and I'm very neutral politically, and you will never hear me support either one. Okay. And that's kind of true to how I am in general. But I can't, my curiosity, I can't help it right now. If you're voting, who are you voting for in chat? I'm just trying to gauge sentiment here, you know? I'm just trying to gauge sentiment. I'm not telling you to vote anybody. I don't care. I care because I'm curious. That's it. Are you voting? And if so, who for? I'm genuinely curious. I want to see. And I think it's an engaging question that people will respond to. But please don't double post, double answer either. As long as the Fed cuts rates, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the Fed's cut rates next Wednesday. Or next Thursday, I believe, is the next rate cut. It's next Thursday. Yeah, I mean, to me, the whole thing seems like a grand old soap opera. And so, you know, please don't get mad at me, but I'm not voting. I'm just not doing it. You know, as a content person, I would love to maybe create some content around things with like an unbiased, neutral perspective. But I still think even that might get me hate. And so I'm probably just going to stray away from the whole realm, even though, you know. So the rate decision is next Thursday. The 5th is when, or no, the 5th is the election. The 7th is when the rate decision is. So it's next Thursday, and it's in exactly a week from now. Exactly a week from now. So if we look at the poll numbers here. So here's the rate expectations. 90. This has actually gone up a little bit after today. So 97%. And the reason this is up probably is because inflation data came in pretty neutral this morning. It came in pretty flat, pretty neutral. Didn't do anything shocking or crazy. It didn't do anything shocking or crazy. Sorry, I got a mole guy working on my house. He's sending me pictures of my townhome. Anyways. What was I talking about? Yeah, don't even give an opinion on politics. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't really have an opinion. I mean, I got an opinion, but it's probably going to bother both sides, and so I'd respectfully just not say anything. So inflation data came in mostly as expected, slightly elevated year over year today for the PCE report. So slightly higher than expected personal consumption expenditure data today. And you might ask, well, hey, if PCE came in higher than expected, why did the odds for a rate cut increase? Because higher PCE technically signals more spending, and more spending signals stronger economy, and a stronger economy does not need more rate cuts, because a weak economy needs rate cuts. That's the logic of this. But I think the reason it went up, even with technically stronger economic data today, is because it was as expected. The only way they're not going to cut rates next Thursday, the only way the Fed is not going to cut rates is if today's PCE report was like wildly scary for inflation, like wildly over the expected number. If it was, then they might fear inflation to a certain point to where they don't want to cut rates, and they might pivot to a pause or something like that. But as long as it's business as usual, which is what PCE data showed this morning at 8:30, that we streamed it all live. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We cover all this stuff live for free. But because it was business as usual, it's even more probable that we're going to do a rate cut, even though we had technically slightly higher inflation. That's my guess here. That's my guess. Anyways, Apple still consolidating, very boring, very sideways, very neutral. And honestly, this is a pretty small reaction for earnings. You know, we haven't had big reactions. PCE data came out today, very light reaction. We also had jobless claims, very light reaction. You know, tomorrow's payroll report's going to be big, of course. And then next week we got some stuff. I think we got like ISM manufacturing data, and we got the rate decision, and then we got the election, you know. So I just wonder what the market's going to behave like. Let me ask. This might be a good time to ask AI this. So yeah, next week tomorrow we have ISM manufacturing, unemployment, non-farm payroll data, right? So it's expected at 110,000 for non-farm payrolls. Last time it was a shocking number at 254K. Unemployment showed up at 4.1% last one, and they're expecting 4.1% again today. ISM manufacturing PMI, a gauge on manufacturing, drops tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. It's expected at 47.6%. That is a small uptick from the last time at 47.2%. Now next week we do have services, which is like the services sector. It's out everything but manufacturing for the most part. That drops Tuesday. Wednesday we got like some services data. Thursday we have jobless claims, FOMC decision. So that's a pretty big day next week as well. And look at Apple pump. So Apple going up a little bit now. I wouldn't call this a pump. Let me rephrase that. We got Michigan consumer sentiment next week. FOMC meaning jobless claims. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of boring though. That's not true at all, Luke. Google EPS is very solid. PE ratio is pretty low, all things considered, versus like the PE ratio of Google, which is the price to earnings ratio, is much lower than Apple, much lower than Amazon. So Google's actually a pretty like value-driven company, I think, right now, at least in terms of price. You know, and if you think I'm wrong, again, I'm open to hearing about it. What's the game plan in terms of non-farm payrolls? I'll probably just be careful to trade up until tomorrow at 8:30. And again, if you want someplace to watch these numbers, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll cover this live for free like we always do right here on YouTube. We don't sell a course, don't sell a service, don't even claim to be good traders. Give everything away for free. Don't charge for anything either. So if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We're going to try to keep growth up here, chat. We're going to try to keep growth up. AMD fell. Yeah, well, AMD actually beat EPS, beat revenue, and still dropped dramatically too. Obviously, it dropped a lot more than some other stuff, though. But again, the catalyst for a lot of these microchip failures is not just AMD's earnings, but it's also Supermicro Semiconductors having a huge downfall from the independent auditor basically saying, hey, this internal management and these financial statements are sketchy. I'm walking away from it. right? That happened with Supermicro Semiconductors. And this is coming on the heels of, not that long ago, Hindenburg dropped a short report on Supermicro Semiconductors, essentially stating the same thing. And so they stated it, and then consequently, or maybe non-consequently, I don't know, an independent auditor said the same thing, right? And that's a terrible sign. And that's why Supermicro is down almost 50% in 48 hours, which is a huge downfall for tech. And that's why a lot of microchip stocks are down. So it's kind of been a gut punch in a lot of different ways for specifically microchips and AI companies. Yeah, where's Robinhood at right now for stocks? Oof, I can see it's down already. Let me look at our poll about whether you're buying the Apple dip right now, too. I asked, are you buying the Apple dip? 41% say yes, 60% say no. 40-60, yes, no. 400 votes. We got 10 minutes left, chat, until the earnings call starts. Yeah, if somebody bought 5-cent puts of Supermicro Semiconductors, they probably knew what's going on, like what's going down prior to it happening. I mean, it's not conspiracy. It's what happened, Shy. Now, maybe they're working together and colluding with each other. It's possible. But I think it's also possible that investors who put a lot of money into Supermicro Semiconductors, or they have confirmation bias against these news releases being true. It's kind of like they don't want to believe that it's true, and they'd rather believe it's manipulation or collusion. You know, a famous quote I've always said, nobody cries manipulation more than somebody that's wildly wrong about a stock, you know. And you see that a lot, right? So again, I'm not saying it's true or not true. I have no freaking idea. I'm not looking deep into Supermicro's books, and no retail shareholders are really doing it. The only people that know whether it's true or not are insiders in the company. And so, yeah. You're a little bit behind the stream, Gregory. You probably want to hit the live button, bro. I asked that question about 15 minutes ago. Going on with Coinbase. Coinbase had earnings yesterday. Crypto's also been pretty volatile. I don't know what's Coinbase doing now. It's down. Down pretty big percentages. Looks like it's down about 10% from earnings. Bitcoin, though, went up to all-time highs and then fell all the way back down to 70K. So I think people got a little less optimistic from that. All right, guys. So we are waiting here for Apple's earnings call to start in about 7 minutes. All right, still waiting on the Apple earnings call, chat. Their sales are what we care about. Did Amazon make the earnings call? So yeah, Amazon earnings call is going to be in 5 minutes. I'll give you guys the link for Amazon's if you want one. I'm going to switch my headphones out. All right, can y'all hear the music? Let me stop this and put this back up. Cut out Amazon earnings. All right, so yeah, we got the call ready. What else we got? Yeah, the call's going live. All right, so y'all can hear the music right now, correct? The call starts very soon here, chat. So the call starts. Pull that up. Yeah, the call starts in 4 minutes. Yeah, so we got the full call going live soon. Yeah, Amazon's numbers are already out. So are Apple's. So Apple's numbers are already out also. We're just waiting. Yeah, if y'all want to give me a follow, it's at Beginner Trades. At Beginner Trades. Once the earnings call starts, just let me know if you can hear it well. All right. So once the earnings call actually starts, just make sure you can hear it well, and tell me if you can. All right. So I've got terrible hold music, but that's all right. Yeah, but the call starts pretty soon in about in about 2.5 minutes. Well, Amazon changed price a lot in 3 minutes. If they announce something big, maybe, but we'll see. We'll have to wait. But revenue is in 4 minutes. So Connor, so revenue already dropped. So all of this stuff is out already. So look, Apple posted these numbers right here. Apple posted, sorry, I gotta scroll all the way back up to find these. Yeah, so Apple posted 164 EPS versus 158 expected, revenue of 94.93 billion. I'll put this up on screen. So here's the full numbers right here. And so I'm just going to put Apple one big old chart up here. There you go. Just leave that there. Yeah, I'm streaming the full call live. We're waiting. Everyone knows you're intermediate. Yeah. Top 3 least beginner traders in the world right now. All right, guys. Less than a minute. 45 seconds. Made a whole $1 on Amazon. Congratulations, Will. Great job. Green is good, you know. All right, chat. 20 seconds. Again, we got the call on. Again, as soon as it starts, just let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to hear it. He's probably talking about Apple, Sam. He's probably talking about he hates Apple price right here, you know. I mean, maybe he's talking about me, but that's less likely. If he is, it's okay. You can't please everybody, you know. We give away everything for free. Don't sell a course. Don't even claim to be good. But, you know, some people are still not going to like you, and that's life. Thus is life. All right, we're waiting for the call to start. Sorry, I'm kind of rocking out to their hold music in the background.
And welcome to the Apple Q4 Fiscal Year 2024 Earnings Conference Call. My name is Suhasini Chandramouli, Director of Investor Relations. Today's call is being recorded. Speaking first today are Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, and CFO, Luca Maestri, and they'll be joined by Kevin Parekh, Vice President of Financial Planning and Analysis. After that, we'll open the call to questions from analysts. Please note that some of the information you'll hear during our discussion today will consist of forward-looking statements, including, without limitation, those regarding revenue, gross margin, operating expenses, other income and expense, taxes, capital allocation, and future business outlook, including the potential impact of macroeconomic conditions on the company's business and results of operations. These statements involve risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results or trends to differ materially from our forecast. For more information, please refer to the risk factors discussed in Apple's most recently filed annual report on Form 10-K and the Form 8-K filed with the SEC today, along with the associated press release. Apple assumes no obligation to update any forward-looking statements, which speak only as of the date they are made. Additionally, today's discussion will refer to certain non-GAAP financial measures. You can find a reconciliation of these measures in our fourth quarter and full year 2024 earnings release, which is available on our investor relations website. I'd now like to turn the call over to Tim for introductory remarks.
Thank you, Suhasini. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining the call. Today, Apple is reporting revenue of $94.9 billion, a September quarter record, and up 6% from a year ago. iPhone grew in every geographic segment, marking a new September quarter revenue record for the category. And services set an all-time revenue record, up 12% year over year. We also set September quarter segment revenue records in the Americas, Europe, and the rest of Asia Pacific, as well as in a large number of countries, including the United States, Brazil, Mexico, France, the UK, Korea, Malaysia, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. And we continue to be excited by the enthusiasm we're seeing in India, where we set an all-time revenue record. This has been an extraordinary year of innovation at Apple. We brought the revolutionary Apple Vision Pro to customers in February, which brings users tomorrow's technology today. And in June, we announced Apple Intelligence, a remarkable personal intelligence system that combines the power of generative models with personal context to deliver intelligence that is incredibly useful and relevant. Apple Intelligence marks the beginning of a new chapter for Apple innovation and redefines privacy and AI by extending our groundbreaking approach to privacy into the cloud with private cloud compute. Earlier this week, we made the first set of Apple Intelligence features available in US English for iPhone, iPad, and Mac users with system-wide writing tools that help you refine your writing, a more natural and conversational Siri, a more intelligent Photos app, including the ability to create movies simply by typing a description, and new ways to prioritize and stay in the moment with notification summaries and priority messages. And we look forward to additional intelligence features in December, with even more powerful writing tools, a new visual intelligence experience that builds on Apple Intelligence, and ChatGPT integration, as well as localized English in several countries, including the UK, Australia, and Canada. These features have already been provided to developers, and we're getting great feedback. More features will be rolling out in the coming months, as well as support for more languages. And this is just the beginning. Now I'll turn to our results for the quarter, beginning with iPhone. iPhone revenue set a September quarter record of $46.2 billion, up 6% from a year ago, with growth in every geographic segment. With the introduction of Apple Intelligence, we're beginning a new era for iPhone. iPhone 16, powered by A18, is equipped with an incredible new 48-megapixel Fusion camera, fantastic photo experiences, and the addition of the action button and camera control. And iPhone 16 Pro is the most advanced iPhone we've ever made, powered by A18 Pro and featuring even larger displays, an industry-leading Pro camera system with camera control, and studio-quality mics, all with a huge leap in battery life. Turning to Mac, revenue was $7.7 billion, up 2% from a year ago. Just this week, we brought a new generation of Apple Silicon to Mac, M4, M4 Pro, and M4 Max. From blazing fast performance to Apple's most advanced neural engine yet, our latest chips can easily tackle incredibly complex workflows. And they ensure our newest Macs will be the best personal computers for AI the instant they hit stores. With the newest additions to our Mac lineup, customers can choose the Mac that's just right for them. Whether that's iMac, the world's best and most beautiful all-in-one, MacBook Air, the world's most popular laptop now with double the starting memory, MacBook Pro, the best Pro notebook anywhere, or the incredible, mighty new Mac Mini, our first ever carbon-neutral Mac. iPad revenue was $7 billion, 8% higher year over year. iPad is unlike any other product on the market today, and it's become an essential device in homes, schools, and businesses of all sizes. Recently, we were thrilled to introduce the newest iPad Mini, featuring an ultra-compact design built for Apple Intelligence, with support for Apple Pencil Pro. It's been a big year for iPad. iPad Air was popular with students and teachers as they got back to school this year, while creators are pushing the boundaries of what's possible with the M4-powered iPad Pro. In wearables, home, and accessories, revenue was $9 billion, down 3% from a year ago. During the quarter, we launched the all-new Apple Watch Series 10, bringing a beautiful new design and new capabilities to the world's most popular watch that make it even more powerful, intelligent, and sophisticated. It's the thinnest Apple Watch yet, making it more comfortable than ever, while offering the biggest, most advanced display. watchOS 11 brings some huge new health and fitness insights to users, including sleep apnea notifications, which help to alert people with a potentially serious but often undiagnosed condition. We're proud of the impact we make through our health innovations on Watch, and I'm grateful for every note I receive about the importance of Watch in people's lives. With AirPods 4, we broke a new ground in comfort and design with our best ever open-ear headphones, available for the first time with active noise cancellation. And we were especially pleased to unveil revolutionary end-to-end hearing health capabilities for AirPods Pro 2 with hearing protection, hearing test, and hearing aid features. These just became available in a software update this week, and we believe this will make a meaningful difference in our users' lives. I've already started getting notes from customers calling the experience life-changing. And Apple Vision Pro continues to deliver spatial experiences that weren't possible before, including immersive entertainment like the new short film Submerged, which gives people a view into the unique storytelling power made possible by spatial computing. Vision Pro has more than 2,500 native spatial apps and 1.5 million compatible apps for Vision OS 2, as well as applications companies are building to reimagine how they work. Vision Pro continues to inspire awe in its users, and we're just scratching the surface of what's possible. And just yesterday, we announced we're bringing Vision Pro to Korea and the UAE. As I mentioned earlier, services achieved an all-time revenue record of $25 billion, up 12% from a year ago, and with all-time revenue records across most of our categories. With Apple TV Plus, we love celebrating the craft of great storytellers who know how to put on a show. Audiences love to discover new movies like Wolves, explore acclaimed new series like Disclaimer, and dive back into returning favorites like Slow Horses and Shrinking. Apple TV Plus productions have become fixtures at award shows, earning more than 2,300 nominations and more than 500 wins to date. Apple also offers a live sports experience in a league of its own with MLS Season Pass, and subscribers have been cheering on their favorite teams in the MLS Cup playoffs. This month, we also marked 10 years of Apple Pay. There's always something magical about being able to buy groceries or pay for movie tickets seamlessly with your Apple device. Today, users choose Apple Pay for purchases across tens of millions of retailers worldwide. And we're excited to make the Apple Pay experience even better with the option to redeem rewards and access loans from credit cards, debit cards, and other lenders right at checkout. Whenever we celebrate big moments, Apple stores are the best places to share them with customers. I had an incredible time during launch day in September alongside our team at Apple Fifth Avenue, where energy and enthusiasm filled the air. And in stores all over the world, customers are eager to get a closer look at our latest innovations. We also opened 2 new stores during the quarter, and we can't wait to bring 4 new stores to customers in India. We're passionate about education and believe technology has a vital role to play in both helping teachers to inspire their students and students to learn about the world around them. In honor of World Teachers Day, Apple was proud to share new resources for teachers to engage their students in ways that aim to make learning easy and fun. Additionally, we've expanded our education grant program into 100 new schools and communities, helping with everything from access to technology, to educator resources, to scholarships and financial support. As we near the end of the year, we're proud of the progress we've made in our efforts to be carbon neutral across our entire footprint by the end of the decade. As I mentioned earlier, we were thrilled to introduce our first ever carbon neutral Mac with the latest Mac Mini. And in another milestone, customers can choose a carbon neutral option of any Apple Watch. These achievements are amazing for all of us at Apple, and we are determined to reach our 2030 goal. At Apple, across everything we do, we manage for the long term because we're always thinking about what comes next, the next great challenge, the next innovative idea, the next big breakthrough. As we close out the year, we have the best lineup we've ever had going into the holiday season, including Apple Intelligence, which marks the start of a new chapter for our products. This is just the beginning of what we believe generative AI can do, and I couldn't be more excited for what's to come. Before I hand it over to Luca, with Luca transitioning to a new role with Apple, this will be the final time he's joining our call. So I just wanted to take a moment to recognize his extraordinary service as Apple's CFO and to thank him for his partnership. I am deeply grateful. In his 10 years in the role, Luca has done truly exceptional work in shaping Apple as we know it today. He has helped manage Apple for the long term, thoughtfully and deliberately. He has helped us enrich the lives of so many around the world, and he has been a leader that people look up to and have learned so much from. I have incredible confidence in our incoming CFO, Kevin Parekh, and we look forward to more of you meeting and working with him going forward. With that, I'll turn it over to Luca.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Tim, for the very kind words. Serving as Apple's CFO has been a real privilege and an amazing journey, and I've greatly appreciated the support from our investors and the analyst community over the years. Kevin is exceptional, and I know you will enjoy interacting with him going forward. Let me now turn to the results for the fourth quarter of our fiscal year. We're very pleased to report a new September quarter revenue record of $94.9 billion, up 6% year over year. We grew in the vast majority of the markets we track and achieved September quarter revenue records in the Americas, Europe, and rest of Asia Pacific. Products revenue was $70 billion, up 4% year over year, driven by growth in iPhone, iPad, and Mac. Our installed base of active devices reached an all-time high across all products and geographic segments, thanks to very high levels of customer satisfaction and loyalty, and a large number of customers who are new to our products. Services revenue reached an all-time record of $25 billion, up 12% year over year. We saw broad-based strength around the world, reaching all-time records in both developed and emerging markets, with double-digit growth and record results across most services categories. Company gross margin was 46.2%, near the high end of our guidance range. Products gross margin was 36.3%, up 100 basis points sequentially, primarily driven by favorable mix. Services gross margin was 74%, unchanged from the prior quarter. Operating expenses of $14.3 billion were at the midpoint of the guidance range we provided at the beginning of the quarter, and up 6% year over year. During the quarter, we recorded a one-time income tax charge of $10.2 billion, which relates to the impact of the reversal of the European General Court's state aid decision. When we exclude this one-time charge, net income was $25 billion, and diluted earnings per share were $1.64, up 12% year over year, and a September quarter record. Operating cash flow was very strong at $26.8 billion, a new September quarter record. Let me now get into more detail for each of our revenue categories. iPhone revenue was $46.2 billion, up 6% year over year, and a September quarter record in total and across several markets, including the US, the Middle East, Korea, and South Asia. The iPhone active installed base grew to a new all-time high in total and in every geographic segment. During the September quarter, many iPhone models were among the top-selling smartphones around the world. In fact, according to a survey from Kantar, iPhone was the top-selling model in the US, urban China, the UK, Australia, and Japan. We continue to see high levels of customer satisfaction for the iPhone 15 family, with 451 Research recently measuring it at 98% in the US. Mac revenue was $7.7 billion, up 2% year over year, driven by the strength in MacBook Air. Customers have been loving the performance of Apple Silicon on Mac, and we are very excited to bring the latest M4 family of chips to the lineup. The Mac installed base reached an all-time high, with about half of customers in the quarter being new to Mac. And in the latest reports from 451 Research, customer satisfaction was 95% in the US. iPad generated $7 billion in revenue, up 8% year over year. In addition to growth in developed markets, we also saw strong performance in many emerging markets, with double-digit growth in Mexico, Brazil, the Middle East, India, and South Asia. The iPad installed base reached another all-time high, and over half of the customers who purchased iPads during the quarter were new to the product. Also, customer satisfaction was recently measured at 97% in the US. Wearables, home, and accessories revenue was $9 billion, down 3% year over year. The Apple Watch installed base reached a new all-time high, with over half of customers purchasing an Apple Watch during the quarter being new to the product. And the latest reports from 451 Research indicated customer satisfaction of 96% for Watch in the US. Our services revenue reached an all-time record of $25 billion, growing 12% year over year. Services continue to see strong momentum, with the growth of our installed base of active devices setting a solid foundation for the future expansion of our ecosystem. And we see increased customer engagement with our services offerings. Both transacting accounts and paid accounts reach a new all-time high, with paid accounts growing double digits year over year. Paid subscriptions also grew double digits. We have well over 1 billion paid subscriptions across the services on our platform, more than double the number we had only 4 years ago. And as always, we remain focused on improving the breadth and quality of our services, from new games on Apple Arcade to new features like Tap to Cash and Pay with Installments using Apple Pay, to many successful new and returning shows on Apple TV+. This past quarter, we celebrated the 5-year anniversary of Apple Card, which was ranked #1 in customer satisfaction among co-branded credit cards by J.D. Power for the 4th year in a row. Turning to enterprise, we continue to see strong demand across our products and services. NVIDIA launched its Mac as a Choice program, supported by Apple Care for Enterprise and Apple Professional Services, with over 10,000 Macs deployed worldwide. And Novartis, a leading global pharmaceutical company, recently chose iPhone 16 as the standard mobile device for all employees. We also see continued momentum with Apple Vision Pro in the enterprise space. UC San Diego Health is the first hospital in the world to test spatial computing apps on Apple Vision Pro in clinical trials for patient surgery in the operating room. Let me now turn to our cash position and capital return program. We ended the quarter with $157 billion in cash and marketable securities. We repaid $2.6 billion in maturing debt and increased commercial paper by $7 billion, leaving us with total debt of $107 billion. As a result, net cash was $50 billion at the end of the quarter. During the quarter, we returned over $29 billion to shareholders, including $3.8 billion in dividends and equivalents and $25 billion through open market repurchases of 112 million Apple shares. As we move ahead into the December quarter, I'd like to review our outlook, which includes the types of forward-looking information that Suhasini referred to at the beginning of the call. The color we're providing today assumes that the macroeconomic outlook doesn't worsen from what we are projecting today for the current quarter. We expect our December quarter total company revenue to grow low to mid-single digits year over year. We expect services revenue to grow double digits at a rate similar to what we reported in the fiscal year 2024. We expect gross margin to be between 46% and 47%. We expect OpEx to be between $15.3 and $15.5 billion. We expect OI&E to be around negative $250 million, excluding any potential impact from the mark-to-market of minority investments, and our tax rate to be around 16%. Finally, today our board of directors has declared a cash dividend of 25 cents per share of common stock payable on November 14, 2024, to shareholders of record as of November 11, 2024. With that, let us open the call to questions.
Thank you, Luca. We ask that you limit yourself to 2 questions. Operator, may we have the first question, please?
Certainly. We will go ahead and take our first question from Michael Ng with Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon. I just have 2. The first one is for Tim on Apple Intelligence. I was wondering if you could just expand a little bit on some of the early feedback to Apple Intelligence, both for iOS 18.1, but also the developer beta so far, and whether you would attribute Apple Intelligence to any of the strong iPhone performance that we've seen to date. Thanks.
Thanks, Michael. As I noted in my comments, just this week on Monday, we made the first set of Apple Intelligence features available in US English for iPhone, iPad, and Mac. And this includes things like system-wide writing tools that help you refine your writing, a more natural conversational Siri, more intelligent Photos app, including the ability to create movies simply by typing a description, which is really cool, and new ways to prioritize and stay in the moment with notification summaries and priority messages. There's also email summaries and email priority. We're getting a lot of positive feedback from developers and customers. And in fact, if you just look at the first 3 days, which is all we have, obviously, from Monday, the 18.1 adoption is twice as fast as the 17.1 adoption was in the year ago quarter. And so there's definitely interest out there for Apple Intelligence. Carrying on in the quarter, we are looking forward to bringing even more features in December. And this will include even more powerful writing tools and visual intelligence experience that builds on Apple Intelligence, and ChatGPT integration, in addition to other features, as well as we'll bring localized English to several countries that include the UK, Australia, and Canada. So it's going to be quite a software quarter between the release on Monday and the release in December. And then as we turn the corner to 25, we'll have more languages rolling out starting in April as well, and more features as well. And so it's a very, very strong drum beat, and we couldn't be more excited about it.
Great. Thank you very much. And my second one, just for Luca. First, congratulations again, Luca, on the new role, and it's been a real privilege being able to spend some time with you. A question that I think will overlap with your new role as well. Could you just talk a little bit about the CapEx outlook and whether investments in things like private cloud compute could change the historical CapEx range of roughly $10 billion a year? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. On the CapEx front, I've mentioned before a number of times, we have a bit of a hybrid model in the way we run our data centers. In some cases, we use our own data centers. In some cases, we use third-party providers. And so, our CapEx numbers may not be fully comparable with others. But obviously, we are rolling out these features, Apple Intelligence features already now. And so we are making all the capacity that is needed available for these features. You will see in our 10K the amount of CapEx that we've incurred during the course of fiscal 24. And we will, in fiscal 25, we will continue to make all the investments that are necessary. And of course, the investments in AI-related CapEx will be made.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Luca.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question is from Eric Woodring with Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Great. Thanks so much for taking my questions. I have two as well. But Tim, maybe if we start with you, I think each of the last 4 years you've exited the December quarter with iPhone demand outpacing supply. As we look to this quarter in the iPhone 16 cycle, lead times are relatively short. There are no known supply shortages. And I'm just curious whether you've been able to maybe get a better read on early cycle iPhone demand this year relative to past years. And if so, what you've learned about, upgrade rates, switching rates, trade-ups versus trading down and being more price sensitive, and overall, any impact that Apple Intelligence may have on iPhone 16 sales. And then I have a follow-up. Thank you.
There's a lot there. On Apple Intelligence, we believe it's a compelling upgrade reason. And but we just launched it 3 days ago. And so what we've got now from a data point of view is the number I just referenced, that 18.1 has twice the adoption rate of 17.1. So that clearly shows a level of interest out there. In terms of exiting the December quarter with demand greater than supply, that's not my recollection that happened for all 4 of the years. We clearly had cases during COVID where there were disruptions, and that's some spilled over, but in a more regular environment where we're not having something, 100-year flood kind of thing, our desire is to get into balance as quickly as possible. We don't want customers having to wait for products. And so if you look at how we've done this year, we did that very quickly on the 16 Pro family, the Pro and the Pro Max. We've been constrained in October, but we believe that soon we'll be out of constraint. And so that's a good sign from our point of view. Keep in mind that that's a function of supply and demand, not one side or the other. And we've been preparing for the quarter for a while. So that's what I would say there.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you,
Yep.
Tim.
Thank you.
And then, Luca, if I just turn to you, obviously it's been a pleasure working with you, and we wish you all the best in the next role. There's plenty debate in the market right now about input costs and commodity prices and the impact that'll have on gross margins. Historically, you do guide gross margins up 50 basis points sequentially, which you just told us about for the December quarter. So can you maybe just help us understand your view of component prices and broadly whether you still see those as tailwinds to gross margins and how sustainable that tailwind might be, or whether that should become a headwind as we look forward? Thanks so much.
Yes, Eric, as you know, our gross margins are a factor of many, many variables. Commodities, of course, are important. They're not the only factor. But specifically on commodities, I can tell you that both for the September quarter and what we expect for the December quarter, most commodities are going to move down in price, while NAND and DRAM increased during the course of the September quarter, and we expect them to increase during the December quarter. We are very pleased with the level of gross margins that we've reported during the course of the year, the entire fiscal year of 24. They're really, for our company, record levels of gross margin, and obviously guiding to 46 to 47% for the December quarter, with all the new technologies that we've included in the products, with all the new features that Tim has talked about, a lot of new products across the board. I think it's a very good sign.
Great. Thanks so much, Luca.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much.
Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question is from Ben Reitzes from Melius. Please go ahead.
Hey, thanks a lot. And I'll echo those comments about Luca. We'll miss you and good luck. And my question is with regard to iPhone again, and with regard to the fourth quarter is my first question, or sorry, the fourth calendar quarter, your first quarter. When you look at mid to low single digit revenue growth, do you expect the iPhone to grow faster? And what are you thinking about in the answer to that question with regard to China, which, keeps improving each quarter? Thanks very much. And then I have just a follow-up. Thanks.
Yeah, Ben, we are not providing that level of color today. Yes, we've said that we expect total company revenue to grow low to mid single digits. Keep in mind, Apple Intelligence, as Tim said, is rolling out over time, both features and languages. And We just had a number of exciting launches just this week, from the Apple Intelligence feature to the new Macs. So we'll leave it at that. We've given you the total for the company and some pretty good direction on services, which we expect to continue to grow at a similar rate than what we've seen in fiscal 24.
Well, great. Thanks, Luca. Hey, Tim, I wanted to ask you, and you guys are well aware of a lot of the noise out there, people chattering about builds, lead times, and you guys are guiding for mid to low single-digit growth. That certainly doesn't sound like alarm bells here, vis-a-vis what you guys must be hearing. And I know you guys are just running your business and doing the best you can, but you have a lot of perspective now, Tim. What are people missing here? And it certainly just sounds like you guys are typically conservative. That guide for revenue is certainly, sounds like the sky is certainly not falling, and you have a pretty good product cycle. So what do you think people are missing, and what are you excited about? Thanks so much, Tim.
Ben, I could not be more excited about Apple Intelligence and the rollout that we've got in front of us. I'm obviously on future releases as well, working on it, and it's changing my daily life. I'm super excited about the health features that we're rolling out. If the number of emails I'm already getting from customers that have taken the hearing test and are using their AirPods Pro 2 as a hearing aid are staggering and heartwarming to read. I'm also thrilled about sleep apnea and the notification there that we'll have through the watch. This week is a very exciting week for us because we just rolled out 3 launches of different Macs and desktops and laptops. And so we have a lot of things on the docket, and it's definitely the strongest lineup we've ever had going into the holiday season. In terms of the noise, I tune it out because if not, it would just be deafening. And so that's what I do. I can't speak for everybody else, but that's what I do.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question is from Amit Daryanani with Evercore. Please go ahead.
Yep. Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my questions. I have two as well. And I guess, Luca, best of luck in the future. It's been a pleasure working with you. I guess the first one I have is away from iPhones. On the services side, you're at $100 billion run rate with services today, which is a phenomenal achievement by itself. As you look at the services portfolio today, can you just talk about how much of this business do you think is reoccurring versus transactional, and are the growth rates different between the subscription portfolio over here versus transactional portfolio?
Yes, Amit, I'll take this one. Yes, we are, first of all, very, very happy with it's an important milestone. Of course, we've got to a run rate of 100 billion. You look back just a few years ago, and the growth has been phenomenal. We're very pleased. We've got a very diversified portfolio of services, and over the years, the amount that is recurring in nature has grown, and it's growing faster than the transactional piece. We have well over 1 billion paid subscriptions on our platform right now between our own services and third-party services. That continues to grow strong double digits. So we feel very, very good. And essentially, to your question, yes, the recurring portion is growing faster than the transactional one.
Got it. And if I could just follow up, if I look at the growth rates across the different geographies, there's always concern around China when it comes to iPhone demand, I feel, but the performance in September looks fairly good. So what if you just touch on what are you seeing from a demand perspective in China if the recent stimulus plans in China could essentially be a catalyst for iPhones? And then EMEA really stood out with double-digit growth. Maybe you can just flush that out as well for us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take the China question. If you look at how we did for the quarter, we were relatively flat year over year. And a key component of that improvement relative to the year-over-year performance that we had been achieving is that there was a sequential improvement in foreign exchange. And so that helped us out. As you know, it's been a headwind that we've been reporting for a period of time. But the other parts that are, what else is going on there is that our installed base of the active devices reached an all-time high. We had the top 2 selling smartphones in urban China, according to Kantar. The level of new customers that we have buying the products like Mac and iPad are well over 50%. Watch is over 3/4 that are new to the product. And so there's several positive signs there. In terms of the stimulus, it's a clear focus of the team there, but I'm not an economist and don't want to ad lib on the effect of it.
On the Europe side, I mean, a number of things. As you see from our results during the quarter, Europe grew double digits, 11%, and really it was really good growth across the board. The different segments, they all did well. Keep in mind, our definition of Europe in our segment reporting includes a number of emerging markets like Turkey, where we've grown very strongly, the Middle East. Tim mentioned a number of records in Saudi, in UAE, and we also include India, where we set an all-time revenue record during the September quarter. But I have to say, also Western Europe grew nicely. So we've seen very, very good results for us in the entire segment.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amit. Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question is from David Vogt with UBS. Please go ahead.
Great. Thanks, everyone, for taking my question, and congratulations, Luca. I know, Luca, and I know, Tim, you don't want to give a lot of granularity, but if I just try to pull together your comments about what the demand environment looks like, are we to assume, based on sort of the commentary, that there's a risk that maybe the product revenue portfolio could be down in the December quarter, if I take your numbers at face value? And if that's the risk, is that more iPhone related, Mac related, given the strength that you've seen, and iPad related? Just trying to get a handle on kind of what potentially is giving you that degree of, I don't want to say caution, but maybe balanced for you going into the December quarter. And then I have a follow-up.
As I said, David, we're not providing that level of color. We're giving you some data on services. I will repeat what I said earlier. We're very early in the cycle, with a lot of new products and features that we are launching. And, we're very excited about them, but it's early. And the Apple Intelligence rollout is going to happen over time, not across the world as normally we do with software releases.
Right. Okay, so maybe a follow-up for Tim. When you think about, to Luca's point about the rollout being, staged over the next several quarters across the world, do you think that has any impact on sort of the normal historical demand cadence across different regions? So should we see something different, let's say, in the December quarter, the March quarter, or the June quarter, et cetera, relative to history, given the timing of the rollout and where customers are probably waiting for the devices to be enabled to have the operating system? We'd just love to kind of get your perspective on how we think about, the demand cadence, how it might be different than maybe historically. Thank you.
Yeah, David, it's clearly, as you point out, a different cadence, if you will, than we would normally do. As we talked about at WWDC, we wanted to give a comprehensive vision of Apple Intelligence, and we said then that it would roll out over time, and we're right on the what we said at WWDC, and so we're executing well. In terms of the demand curve, I would just say that what we believe here is that it's a compelling reason for upgrading. And that's both my personal experience and feedback that I'm getting. And so we'll see. But we're not projecting beyond the current quarter, obviously. We just don't do that.
Great. Thanks, Tim, and best of luck, Luca.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. We'll take the next question, please.
Our next question is from Wamsi Mohan with Bank of America. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Luca. We will miss you on these calls. Tim, maybe for you, as you think about this staggered rollout of Apple Intelligence, can you help us think through potentially how much of the global install base of phones will have access to Apple Intelligence in their native language in their region within the next year or maybe in the next 2 years? And what are some of the gating factors in the rollout? And I will follow up.
If you look at our schedule, we started with U.S. English. That started on Monday. There's another release coming that adds additional features that I had referenced in December in not only U.S. English, but also localized for UK, Australia, Canada, Ireland, and New Zealand. And then we will add more languages in April. We haven't set the specifics yet in terms of the languages, but we'll add more in April and then more as we step through the year. And so we're moving just as fast as possible while ensuring quality. That's what we're doing.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
And then as a follow-up, maybe this is a little premature, but how is Apple at a high level prepared to potentially deal with any tariffs that might come post the selection cycle? And if not exactly how, perhaps you can just help investors think about some of the things Apple has done already to try to insulate from some of these impacts or potential impacts.
You know, I wouldn't want to speculate about those sorts of things, and so I'm going to punt on that one.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Wamsi. May we have the next question, please?
Our next question is from Krish Sankar from TD Cowen. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question. And again, thanks, Luca, for all your help with the analysts and investors. My first question is on R&D. Given how much your tech peers are spending on AI, does this new era of Apple Intelligence actually require Apple to invest more in R&D beyond your current 7 to 8% of sales to capture this opportunity? And then I had a follow-up.
Krish, as you know, we've been investing heavily in R&D over the last several years. Our R&D growth has been significant during the last several years. And obviously, as we move through the course of fiscal 24, we've also reallocated some of the existing resources to this new technology, to AI. And so the level of intensity that we're putting into AI has increased a lot, and you maybe don't see the full extent of it because we've also had some internal reallocation of the base of engineering resources that we have within the company.
Got it. Thanks for that, Luca. And then another quick follow-up. I understand Apple Intelligence is a feature on the phone today, but do you think that in the future it could potentially have, or benefit the services growth business? or is that there's too bifurcated to even make a call on this early in the cycle? Thank you.
I think just to keep it in mind, Apple Intelligence is also available on the Mac for the M series products and on certain models of iPad, and in addition to the phone. And so it's on all three. What was your follow-on question?
Tim, it was on, can the Apple Intelligence actually help, help the services growth rate?
Oh, keep in mind that we have released a lot of APIs, and developers will be taking advantage of those APIs. That release has occurred as well, and of course more are coming. And so I definitely believe that a lot of developers will be taking advantage of Apple Intelligence in a big way. And what that does to services, I'll not forecast, but I would say that from an ecosystem point of view, I think it will be great for the user and the user experience.
Got it. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Krish. Can we have the next question, please?
Our next question comes from Samik Chatterjee with JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Yep, great. Thank you. Thanks for taking my questions. And Luca, congrats on the new role, and a pleasure working with you these years. I guess if I can, for my first one, start with mix on the iPhone side. And what I'm really curious about, if you have any thoughts, given that Apple Intelligence is now going to be a consistent feature set across all the four sort of iPhones on the iPhone 16 series that you launched, and going back to iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, are you seeing any change in behavior from a consumer perspective in terms of which sort of on the mix front within the iPhone series where consumer adoption is, given that there's more consistency of the features when it comes to Apple Intelligence across the board? And I have a follow-up. Thank you.
It's tough to answer your question because we've been constrained in October on the Pro and the Pro Max. And so it's really too early in the curve to call the precise mix on the consumer versus the Pro. So we'll see.
Okay. And for my follow-up, Tim, during the quarter, I think over the last 90 days, we had the quotes come out in relation to the DOJ relative to the Google sort of revenue sharing agreement that you have with them. How do you sort of look at it going forward in terms of emphasizing the role that Apple has in that ecosystem with Safari and sort of the potential outcomes that you're looking at? Thank you.
You know, I don't want to speculate on that from a legal point of view. It's an ongoing case, and I will save that for another day.
Okay. No, thank you. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Samik. Operator, may we have the next question, please?
Our next question comes from Richard Kramer with Arete Research. Please go ahead.
Thanks very much. For my first one, Tim, I'd like to ask about some of the components and services where, despite your installed base, some parts of the Apple One bundle, like music and news and arcade and fitness, are not obviously the market-leading offerings. And maybe what might change that, and what other services could you call out as growing faster, having wider or widening addressable markets like we've seen in pay or advertising?
But the way that I view it is that we have lots of opportunity in all of those. And so there's lots of customers to try to convince to take advantage of it, and we're going to continue investing in the services and adding new features, and whether it's News Plus or music or arcade, that's what we're going to do. Keep in mind that for us, we're more focused on being best than being most. And so in some cases, not in every case, some of the services the majority of the services that you mentioned are not cross-platform. We make them for our customers only. And so that in some cases changes the person who's going to sell the most, perhaps. But that's our objective is to make the best.
Okay, thanks. And then, Luca, one piece of unfinished business was your pledge to get to a net neutral cash position. And over the last 2 years, you stayed around $50 billion of net cash. We've clearly seen instances in the past where elevated marketing spend or other programs brought increases in market share. I guess my question, looking back on your tenure, is at your scale now of $57 billion of OPEX, do you still see incremental ways to put that cash to work in the business? Or will we just continue to see increased shareholder returns?
Well, obviously, as you've seen, our OPEX has gone up over the years. We've also seen at the same time a significant expansion in gross margin, maybe to a level that I would have not expected a few years ago. But we've done a very good job on a number of fronts. And so I would say when we plan, every time we plan for the upcoming year, we think about all the different areas where we can deploy our resources, and we make them available to grow the business. I think we've done very well over the long term. But our fundamental philosophy is to look after the business first, and then if we have excess cash, we will continue to return it to our shareholders, and the plan has worked quite well so far.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. We'll take our last question, please, operator.
Our last question comes from Atif Malik with Citi. Please go ahead.
Thank you for squeezing me in. It seems to us that the spec differentiation between iPhone 16 Pro and base models isn't as big as prior years. All iPhones have new A18, A18 Pro chips, and there wasn't an increase in ASPs versus last year. Can you share with us if there is a shift in your strategy in terms of?
Unfortunately, Mr. Malik's line has dropped.
Awkward. His call dropped. Now they're whispering in the background. Again, this is not me. I didn't do it. You can hear him whispering in the background. It's not me. So.
All right. Sorry, Atif. We'll connect offline. Thank you, everybody. A replay of today's call will be available for 2 weeks on Apple Podcasts as a webcast on apple.com/investor and via telephone. The number for the telephone replay is 866-583-1035. Please enter confirmation code 0331536 followed by the pound sign. These replays will be available by approximately 5 p.m. Pacific today. Members of the press with additional questions can contact Josh Rosenstock at 408-862-1142. And financial analysts can contact me, Suhasini Chandramouli, with additional questions at 408-974-3123.
All right, guys. So that is it for Apple's call. So that's it for Apple's call. Let me know what you guys think. Apple not reacting well to it. Again, this is like the 5th or 6th Mag 7 stock that negatively reacted to decent earnings, good guidance, good earnings. They were over here making hand signals and stuff. You could hear them whispering in the background. That's what I was kind of doing. But anyways, that's it for today, guys. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Tomorrow, non-farm payrolls, unemployment numbers, big data. Big release, huge release. We'll see what happens, guys. Again, if you want to check out Top Step Day Trade with me, Top Step is a funded program in futures. They give you a demo, test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. In this case, it's $50 for the base one. If you lose, it's not the end of the world. It's kind of like a souped up Dibbo account. And if you pass it, you get $50K funding, 90% split. They paid out over $100 million. Always remember, guys, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Do not copy me. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade responsibly. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. I know, guys. I know Halloween can kind of be like a party night. Y'all be careful. Y'all be safe. And out tonight. If you go out tonight, y'all be careful. Y'all be safe. Y'all be good. Eat some candy. Stay healthy. I'll see you guys later.